Hey, I'm Supats, lifelong solopreneur. Now living my life with only one passion to help solopreneurs to launch their digital products on fast track so that they can be profitable as fast as within 1 week, and they want to scale, they can join the membership. And as a bonus, I show them how they can sell their digital products all over the world using affiliates. Without further delay, let's get started. I am actually Sue Pats, and welcome to New Beginning Inspiration for You. I work with lots of solopreneurs and entrepreneurs, and most of them they are always complaining about how life is giving them lemon. But you know, we have someone today who is going to show you that if life gives you lemon, you can make lemonade. And she has lots of stories to tell you that because she has been an author, entrepreneur, and academic researcher. This is a unique combination. I have never seen this combination. So, without further delay, let me invite Rhonda Parker Taylor. Stage is all yours. We want to know more about your story, your success, your struggles. Yeah. So please get started. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And New Beginnings, not only is it a great podcast and thinking about how do we start again? How do we redefine ourselves? But it's a lifelong challenge for most people. We don't realize that with every up and down that we have in life, it gives us the opportunity to redefine ourselves and really find the gems in our life that brings not only purpose but it brings joy and happiness. So I really want to thank you for having me today, and I want to express just how excited I am to talk about not only my story, but it will probably mirror many people's out there that listen to you on a regular basis. But if this is the first time that you've listened to New Beginnings, let me tell you, we're going to have a ball because not am I only an author, a researcher, and an entrepreneur. I'm a life learner that's gone through just as much as anybody else. And some of them were moments that were life hit moments where I had no control over it. And other times, guess what? I just made the wrong decision and I made my own crossroads. And, that I had to navigate myself back to my own purpose. So I'm sure everybody out there in the audience can relate to that because that is what life is. It's messy, but it gives you a chance to
That's
love,
really good.
laugh,
Yeah, means
and live.
I liked your sentence. You mentioned that you need to understand the things which you can control and which you cannot control. So how how can we define that? Because as a human being, we always feel we are superhuman and we can control everything. So, what is the fine line? How can you distinguish?
Well, the first thing is, when we don't, the things that we don't have control are the usually the cycles of life. It could be life, death, illness. Those are the kind of things that we don't have a lot of control on, other than what we put in our body. So when we reach a specific point in our lives, we have to pay attention. Then there's the moments that we make the wrong decision or we're too stubborn to change. I can give you a perfect example. My husband told me one day, "You sit too much. Your job has you sit at night. You're going to turn into a chair." Of course, I thought, well, that was the most awful thing that anybody could say. And I defended myself till the end. Until a year later, I ended up at the doctor's office. My back was hurting. My legs were hurting. I couldn't walk a mile like I used to be. I used to walk 5 miles a day. And the doctor told me, "You have peripheral morris." And I'm like, "What is peripheral morris?" I don't even know what peripheral morris is. So I went back and I started Googling it. and it's butt wasting away. No more butt muscles. Guess what? I had turned into a chair. So the I had a choice. I even had an accountability partner that said, "Hey, you need to start making some changes." And I didn't do it. So the life hit moment hit when my body screamed for help. So sometimes we have little warnings that a life hit moment might happen. And other times, you don't get that warning. But the bottom line is to be resilient. We have to always think about the protective factors in our lives. Whether it would be the environment, the social aspects of us, our inner strength. We have so many things that we can do to improve self, but many a times we're just stubborn, like playing the game of uncle, where we bend each other's fingers until they hurt. And then we finally say uncle and make the changes because we're
Yeah,
in that place that we're
I
willing to
really like what
accept.
you said because there are few factors like environment and pollution, and there's so many things which we cannot control. I'll tell you a story of one of my friends, and she got cancer, and she always had a healthy living. Means she even didn't eat fried food and all those things, and she was wondering how come she got cancer because she thought, okay, cancer is for people who just do whatever with their life and then that is the reaction. Then she realized that, okay, these are the factors which she cannot control. That's why she got cancer. And then she got actually more actually stronger with her diet and her exercise and all, and she reversed her stage 4 cancer, and now she's totally cancer free. So means initially she was playing victim, but then she decided, okay, she's going to be victor. And it's actually resonates with what you are saying. It's so true, and I really appreciate what you are telling us. You also mentioned that you are a lifetime learner. Most of the people, they are like, okay, I'm done with college. I'm not going to learn anything. I'm not going to read anything. I'm just going to party. I'm done. So, how can you teach this attitude? Because it is amazing attitude. Knowledge is so much there. Even one life is not enough. You can keep on learning. But when people have this kind of attitude, what can you tell them?
Well, first of all, let's get rid of the negative mindset about learning. Mindset about learning is thinking of the academic or the IQ so many times. You know what? I'm not the brightest bulb in the bunch. I've known that since I was a kid. I wasn't the one that excelled in math and English. And, most people would have said I was a social butterfly, not academically strong, and I wasn't going to be a life learner. But guess what? I realized that life learning isn't always about the academics. It's doing things like watching this podcast where we can get tips and tricks that we can make sure that we know how to hit each new beginning with power and might, and be able to transition those new beginnings into something powerful that asks the question, like the proverb says, smooth seas don't make skilled sailors. Well, what does that mean? Well, think about what that means. That means we don't become better unless we become learners of life. And when we become learners of life and hit those new beginnings with power and might, what ends up happening is we become a life learner in life. So learning isn't just academics. It's learning how to change. It's learning how to be self aware. It's learning how to control our emotions. It's learning how to cook when maybe you've never cooked in your life. It's these things that can bring us joy. Do we even know what brings us joy? Or are we just going through the motions of 3 meals breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We may get a walk in, and then we sit down and we watch television for the last few hours of the day. And then boom, we're in bed and we're starting again. That's more like a robot than living. Let's go ahead and recharge ourselves with fruits, vegetables, water, walking, people that we love, having good conversations, engaging ourselves in self reflection so that we can actually not only have resilience and life balance, but we have self improvement and life learning right there all
Absolutely.
together. And it
I
costs
also
us
read
nothing.
somewhere that, your learning really starts when you think you know everything. And after that, when you learn, that is your real learning. And my husband and I, we always have this talk. And my husband always says, I don't know this. I never did this. Then I always tell him, when I was born, I didn't know nothing. So everything, whatever I'm doing over here, I learned
Mm-hmm.
on this earth. So we cannot give this excuse, okay, I never did it, I don't know it. And you also mentioned about the fruits and veggie. The veg means basically food with life. It is so much needed. Whenever we are traveling on the plane, they always give crackers and pretzels, and I always ask, means why it is dead food they are serving on the plane? Because there is lots of food available with life, but then yeah, I don't know what can be the reason, liability or whatever it is. But whenever we can control, we can make good choices, right? And you,
Exactly. Exactly. Making good choices. Now, sometimes
yeah,
we
you
don't
are
make
right.
good
But
choices, though, do
you
we?
also actually mentioned one really important point about the mindset, because many times the physical manifestation happens after it is manifested in your mind. So tell me, what are the means basically important things about mindset, how to control, and why mindset is so important? Because people, they get started into the business or anything with the life and all, they think, oh, I'm perfect, I don't need to change. What mindset? I'm always right. What is there to learn? What is there to change mindset? So what can you tell them? What about the mindset?
So let's talk about exactly what you were just saying. What is our mindset? Our mindset is anything that preoccupies our mind and what we're doing and provides the mood, the vibe, the attitude, the perceptions of the world. And a lot of times we can get into a negative mindset. Oh, life is too difficult. Oh, I'm not smart enough. Oh, I'm fearful about things that, I don't understand how to do. And when you get into that self talk, that mindset, that life is just too complicated, it is so easy to, especially with today's media, focusing on all the disasters of the world and not any of the beautiful parts of the world, to buy into the fact that that's where we're supposed to be. On the other hand, there's a positive mindset. It's facing the world with intentionality. And what I mean by intentionality, every move, every decision, every conversation, how do you want to start? And how do you want to end? Do you have gratefulness as part of your daily model, or are you running around looking for all the negative that the world has to provide you? A good example, are you looking at the person that just cut you off on the road and you're yelling and screaming right along with them, especially if you're from a big city? Or did you just notice that the skyline was just beautiful that day? Or did you notice when you were driving on the freeway that you just saw a bird of prey swoop down with their big wings and sit down on the fence alongside the road and say, wow, I haven't seen a bird like that in a long time because I live in the city? Whatever it is, did you notice that you heard from a family member today? And, it wasn't just a quiet day of people of work. Did you do something like open your blinds and see a chipmunk that running, scurrying through, and notice just how funny it is to see them hop all over the place? It's finding joy in this busy, crazy world and taking a mental note to say, you know what? I want to savor this moment, because the next moment might be negative. It might be the person cutting you off the road. It might be a deadline that you're frustrated with. And then when you get to the point that you've realized that something is valuable, loving, kind, you may not have 10 hours to spend in that moment, but just spend a little longer time, a few seconds more, so that joy is manifested into your heart and your mind. And when you can do that, you can hit all your crossroads. I wrote a fiction novel called Crossroads because I wanted to, just like you said, a lot of people don't want to be life learners. They want entertainment, they want fun. So it's a whodunit thriller. And in this whodunit thriller, I thought, let me put little tidbits in it that allows people to realize what happens when you're out of balance. You have the workaholic that's in the jury. You have the law and order guy that's the prosecutor. You have the young man that's dedicated to his friends and made the biggest mistake of his life. And when we get into these moments where we have crossroads, we have to decide, do we want happiness? Do we want successfulness? Do we want to find our purpose? So hopefully the people that read Crossroads can get those little bit of tidbits. And then if they identify with it, they can go back and get the life balance workbooks and the resilience workbooks and go out there and say, I want to be more like this person, and I don't want this to happen to me. So let's go ahead and do a little
I
life learning and
was constantly
self-help.
making notes because there were so many nuggets after nuggets. So I just want to summarize your talk over here. You talked about the negative mindset, and that is how it is automatic. And really, you go to garden, if you don't do nothing in your garden, weeds are automatic, and your mind is just like that. And you talked about the intention. So how to set the positive intention? Yeah, if you want to grow a good plant, you have to tend it and you have to do some work. And that's the same thing. Your mind is a fertile ground, and here, if you want to cultivate the positive results, you have to take intentionally action accordingly. You mentioned about the self talk. That is so important, because be friend to yourself, be nice to yourself. Yeah, means others will judge you or love you, it doesn't matter, but you be your own friend, and results will be amazing. You also mentioned about being gratefulness. That is so important, because once you are grateful, universe sees that you are enjoying being grateful, and universe will give you more and more reasons to be grateful. That is so amazing. And as far as we are living, nothing is going to be perfect. So every situation, every human being, they will have
Mm,
positive traits and they will have negative. So it's up to you what you focus on, because whatever you focus on, that grows. So if you focus on positive, of course that will grow, and that is so amazing. It is really important. Also, you mentioned about the present moment. Yeah, means you mentioned that not to worry for the future. Yeah, and that is what happens. Most of the people, either they are thinking for the past, and past is mainly full of regrets, or they are thinking of future. Future is full of worries. Then why not present? It is the gift. That's why it is called present. And that is the mindfulness. It is so important. You also mentioned about the balance. And I work with solopreneurs, and even I have been there. That most of the time you start your project, you are out of balance. And many times solopreneurs, they quit their 40-hour job to start a business, and they end up working 80 hours. And you mentioned the balance. Balance is so important. But I want to talk more about your book. You mentioned about the crossroads, because people come across crossroads all the time. And it is very hard to take the road which is less traveled. So, what can you say? What can you say about that?
They really, well, first of all, I'll show you the cover of Crossroads. It's an Indianapolis, Indiana based, USA based crime thriller. No horror. It's all behavioral and working on the development of the characters and how they'll work in a room together. So there is a trial, kind of like a Grisham or a Agatha Christie clue based fiction novel. But all the sites are real to Indianapolis. So you get a little history, a little dot of and feel of what it's like to live in the Midwest of the United States. And then it has life lessons like 3 emotions that could cause a crime: anger, fury, and envy. And the proverb says anger is cruel, fury is overwhelming, but who can stand before jealousy? Envy makes the bones rot. And what I've done in this book is I've tried to make the characters like just like us, or one of our friends, or someone we grew up with, or it could be even different points in our lives that we've, one time we might be a workaholic, and another time we might be all caught up in politics and law and order, and then another time, hey, we might have been dedicated to our friends and we did too much. So it allows us to have a commitment to these characters and realizing that, hey, things aren't always what they seem, especially when you're not in balance. And when you're not in balance, things can happen to you and you don't even know what's happening in your life because you're dedicated to the wrong things. You brought up some really good nuggets of information. Things like hard work, persistence, and resilience. It shows in Crossroads, and it was endorsed by Mariel Hemingway, the granddaughter of Ernest Hemingway, the great author. And also in her own right, she shined as an actress and an author herself. She's an Academy Award winning and Golden Globe nominated actress. And she liked the book because it's all about how do we keep our balance? How do we keep ourselves motivated to be the best version of ourselves? And in her YouTube video, she said, we reach a crossroads in our lives all the time where we have to realize that even chocolate has an expiration date. Now, think about what that's saying. It's saying, and if we go to Proverbs 14, all hard work brings a profit, but mere talk leads to poverty. Think about what we're doing if we're not balanced in all the dimensions: your spirituality, your health, your mental health, your family, your social aspects of you, your finances, your career. If you don't have plans in each one of those segments of your life, you're reaching poverty for yourself. Do we want to have profit? Well, as an organization and as an entrepreneur, of course I want to have a profit. But what about personal profit? Personal profit, yeah, try that 3 times. Personal profit is when we're happy, we're joyful, we're moving forward to our purpose. But if we don't do that, then it's mere talk and we're going into poverty. So from the organizational entrepreneur, solopreneur aspect, we don't want poverty. We're wanting to succeed. But at the same time, take it to the personal level. If you're only talking about what you want to do in your life and you're not making those changes and you're not monitoring yourself, you're bankrupting your own personal identity. You're a shell of who you really are intended to be. So, do we want to have profit professionally? Of course. Do we want to have poverty in business? Of course not. Do we want to have profit as an individual? Of course. We want to be happy. We want to have extra. We want to maybe take that cruise or whatever it may be. Or do we want to have poverty in our personal life? Do we want to feel emotionally bankrupt? Like there's no life out there? No, we don't want that. So we have to go through
Oh
the
my
new
goodness,
beginnings
it
every
was
single time.
really, it gave me goosebumps. You mentioned about negative traits like anger, envy, jealousy, and all. You might be having those towards other people, but other people, they have a choice whether they take that anger from you or not. But you are giving that feeling to yourself.
Mhm.
So you might be angry with someone else, but you are hurting yourself.
Right.
And the personal profit is so important. I totally agree with you. And you also mentioned about the hard work and consistency and persistency and resilience. That is so important, and that will beat the talent anytime. That will beat talent. And I really like that for every sentence, everywhere you have the proof from Bible, because I did Bible study for many years because my kids went to Christian school, and I was part of the organization where all the business training was totally based on Bible. So I can relate to you a lot, and spirituality is so dear to my heart. And spirituality doesn't mean religion, because I studied many religions, and I
Mm,
found that the message is same, only the names are different. So that's why it really doesn't bother me. And people fight on religion and all. I
exactly.
really don't understand. I really feel you don't know the what your religion is teaching you. That's why you are fighting. If every religion is basically
Right.
telling peace is the ultimate truth, then why you are fighting? So anyway, you also mentioned about the best version of yourself, and that is the gift you can give back to God, because God has given you so much. But when you become the best version of yourself, that is the gift you give back to God. You also mentioned about personal profit and avoid bankruptcy, especially personal profit bankruptcy. And that reminded me of Steve Jobs. And he was a billionaire. But when he was on
Mm,
his deathbed, his last write-up was full of regrets. So a billionaire, how he can be personally bankrupt? That is the exact solution. He said, people thought I was so successful, I had everything in my life, but I didn't have friends, I didn't pursue my hobbies, I didn't do anything. I just kept on working, 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 and now I'm on this sick bed, and now I realize that I can trade everything except the sick bed. And your teaching is telling people how to not have this personal bankruptcy. Your teaching is still telling people how to have balance. It's really amazing. Means it is so important, and it is really overlooked. So what is your suggestion for solopreneurs? Means what kind of offers you have, and how can you help them? Because they need what you are offering. How can they find you? What offers do you have?
First, let's start with my website. They can go to my website, rhondaparkertaylor.com. It has the email, it has all of my social media, and it doesn't cost a dollar just to go in and visit and like and follow. And then I try weekly to bring little tidbits, little happinesses, write a poem, bring something that makes you think. So that costs nothing. So my offer to you is, let's just be friends. Let's just bring happiness, joyness. Let's start the day with kindness and let's end with compassion for each other. And when we can do that, all the other things that they can do. You could go to Amazon or Barnes and Noble or BAM or whatever form of bookstore and order my book Crossroads and follow Paris Pennington's life and find out how does this workaholic turn it around, or buy the workbooks on how to um, get life balance or resiliency. But let's just start with the first thing. The first step is first, keep on coming to New Beginnings because I plan on coming back. And then I know there's other people out there talking about how do you do these beginnings without pain and suffering, and then realize that everybody out there has the same struggle. No, it may not be the same story because our story is our playlist of what everything that's happened in our lives. I could go through the list of things that have been positive and the list of things that have been negative in my life, and guess what? It comes out to it, my own song list, my own story, and you have yours. But we all are human, and we all have those ups and downs, and we
Thank
can
you. I
bring the
really
best out in the
appreciate.
world
And
when
you
we
also
want to.
mentioned that you have some more books coming up. So would you like to share about what is happening in your yeah?
So this is the book cover for the second one. It's called The Journey to Life Balance. And it does it from the dimensions of 13 dimensions of your life. And if you look at the picture, obviously that kind of tells you this is what we're struggling every day. That's what our life and our body feels like. And our body feels everything that we have it. And then because life does hit, and because sometimes you get knocked down 7 times and you have to get up the 8th, we all need to know how to have grit and persistence and build ourselves to resilience. And so resilience is another, it's the first half of it is just the educational piece of what resilience is, what are the pillars, what can we do to make us more resilient. And then the last half of it is like a devotional. It goes through what does the Bible say? What did Martin Luther King say about resilience? What does, you know, how do we feel about resilience? And we do this, and then each day has a poem written, especially for me when I was going through hard times or going through my own storms. And what I realized in doing this book is we have a choice. We have a choice. We are the storm in our own lives. We are the energy of the storm. Life may hit, it may be the lightning bolt that starts the storm, gets us going, but our emotions, our mindset is what provides the energy to either the tornado or the
So right,
the
because
calm
every
seas.
action, every human being taking here, not just human being, but any species is taking every action is for happiness. Yeah, you might be thinking, okay, I'm going for money, but money also what means
Mhm.
ultimately you want to use that money to create more happiness in your life. Yeah, means basically every action is geared towards, and you are giving the
Right.
secret of happiness. And you are not just giving secret of happiness, you are not just giving that, you are also giving theory and practical application, how to create happiness in your life. This is so amazing. And can you tell little bit about your book publishing? Because I have written 3 books, and I just keep on getting messages for a webinar. Come to our webinar, and we'll show you how you can write your book in one day, how you can write your book in half day. And I started my book writing journey like a decades back. And when I get these messages, that really I say, oh my goodness, my heart is full of all these things, and AI cannot understand my things. So, can you tell us little bit about your book writing journey, writing, editing, beta readers, and publishing? Can you tell us, so that means many are people actually they are thinking of writing book, even they'll get some idea what can they do.
Well, the first thing that I say is don't put the pressure on you that you have to write the book in 30 days. Yes, there's lots of things saying, oh, you can do it in 30 days. That's not my motto, because that's not unique to you. Typically, it's doing some kind of AI program that writes different things, and it's not even you writing it. It has no basis, you've no research, or if it's fiction, it's not even unique to what your story is. One page a day, and it's done in a year. That's 250 words, double spaced. That also gives you time, because most novels or even nonfiction aren't 365 pages. They're more like 200, right? So that gives you time to get to know your characters, get to know your content, find out the structure you want and what the message that you want to come out. What is the message that you want people to believe and understand when they get done? What do you want to leave them with when they close the last page to your book and they sit there and think about, what do I think about this book, this novel, and whatever it might be. So one page a day, and it's done in a year. Then the publishing part is it's a business. You have to remember it's a business. So there's three paths. Traditional publishers will edit it. They'll help you design the book cover. They'll put it together and maybe make some contacts for distribution, but you're still going to have to do some marketing and create a brand just like any other product. The hybrid publisher is one that you've written the book and you say, okay, I need help creating the brand. I need you to help me edit it. I need you to help me decide what my website looks like. I need you to help me make a model that's as successful as possible. But you're still going to have to get out there as an author, and you're going to have to go out there and say, okay, would you put this on your bookshelf? It's no different than a grocery store. Bookstores are the grocery stores of books. Every shelf space costs them money. They have to move books. So how are you going to get them on the shelf? Have a marketing plan in place so that you can show them that, hey, I like to write. I'm artistic. I'm creative, but I'm also a businessman or woman. The third way is to self-publish. If you self-publish, you're taking full ownership of the product. That means you're going to know where the barcodes go. That means you're going to know the website. You're going to learn about marketing. You're going to learn about the different ways of distribution. And you're going to have to realize that if you don't follow the rules of the other two pathways, it's going to be harder to sell if you don't have the certain criteria or checklist, like you're on the right websites for bookstores to order it. Are you on the right websites for libraries to order it? Are you making it returnable so that they even consider your book? So there are tips and trades that you should learn from other authors to to
Thank
make
you. I
it as
really appreciate your
successful as
insight.
possible.
And we touched upon your book writing. We also touched about your entrepreneurship business, but we didn't touch upon your academic researcher side. So, do you want to tell anything about that? Because I never interviewed anyone who has been an academic researcher. So, yeah, feel free to share that part too.
Sure. So my first major splash as a academic researcher was on emotional intelligence. Some people might know that as social intelligence now, which is was based out of Daniel Goleman's um, work, where you
Oh,
realize
yeah.
that you have right brain functions and left brain functions, your IQ and your EQ. EQ is your social, your soft skills. It goes into four categories: your intrapersonal, your interpersonal, your general mood, and your stress management. And I studied and I tested leaders all around the world that were both domestic CEOs and vice presidents of companies, which means they're only in one country, or in multi-countries, multinational leaders. And we tested their emotional intelligence and their experiences as leaders to find out how do we best develop ourselves to have good emotional intelligence. So that was presented for the UN Global Compact Committee of the United Nations on how do we become a sustainable leader and a sustainable model. And I urge everybody out there that's a leader or have their own organization, think about how you are leading your organization in this way. Other areas that I do academic research in is people passing or going through their dissertation or the capstone projects. I'm a chair or a mentor in those processes, and we go through, and like right now I'm working on an exciting project to see how can we address the teacher shortage in the United States to make sure that we have more educated teachers that can
Thank you.
actually get
That's
better
really
outcomes out
great.
of
I
our
really
students.
appreciate your work and insight and all the nuggets full of wisdom. Really appreciate. We are almost at the end of our time. I just want to ask you, do you want to give any parting message to our audience? Yeah, I would appreciate.
Oh, everybody out there, remember you're beautifully made. Think of yourself as the coastline that is beautiful. The sun is shining on you. Look at your life and realize that every day can be great. Even in the middle of a storm, you can find the little pieces of nuggets of happiness. You know, you can't take grief away from you. You can't take hurt away from you, but you can find the things that are intended for you to see in those storms and control the emotions in you to make sure that you're happy, stable, and that you're pursuing your own purpose while you're going through those
Thank
storms.
you. Really
Remember, if it's
appreciate.
meant to be, it's
And
up to you.
audience, please remember whatever Rhonda taught us and make sure you contact her. She has given her website. She has told you that you are special. You are God's creation. So you are special. She has given you practical tips how to create more happiness in your life. She has given you the secret for your life. So we will follow her, and sure we can be in part of her community. And really thank you, Rhonda Parker Taylor. I'm taking your full name because I want to appreciate you coming as a guest on our podcast and blessing my family, community, and everyone. Thank you. God bless you. Keep up the great work. We really appreciate your work. Thank you.
It's been a wonderful time with you. Thank you.
Hey, thanks for joining us. We are blessed to have you as part of our community, and whatever way we can help you, serve you, let us know. Please subscribe and let us know how we can help you, what resources you want. We have lots of free resources and also free collaboration joint venture groups you can join and explode your business, because most solopreneurs quit their business before they launch their first products, and I don't want that to happen to you. And that's why we have special launch service where you can monetize your digitals and become profitable as fast as within 7 days. And if you want to scale your business, join our membership New Beginning Success Collaboration, where we'll provide you MRR and PLR products and collaborations so that you can scale your business with ease and effortlessly. And hey, if you want to sell your digitals all over the world, yes, we will provide you affiliates more than 200 countries. So everything is possible. Just live your dream, follow your dream, and whichever way we can help you, do let us know. Thank you and God bless you.